Where in the Folk is not and should not be viewed as a news source. Any names, places, or likenesses mentioned are purely fictional, and any information discussed is purely speculative. Guest opinions are their own and do not reflect those of anyone else. Where in the Folk is not responsible for content accuracy of any stories that are told or what people do with these stories. This show is vulgar, sometimes graphic, and due to its content, it should not be viewed by anyone actually.
Hello.
Hello. Cecil's figuring it out. I don't know
what in the world. Welcome to another episode of Where in the Folk.
They're trying to kill us.
I happened last week too. Like it automatically kicks us off the platform. It isn't bringing us live anymore.
Let's we can play around with that after the show.
I think I noticed it's been doing that on both shows when we play the intro automatically.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do notice that the intro is a little bit long too, so I don't know if it's like maybe some black space on the intro.
Could be. Oh, welcome to another episode of Where in the Folk. I hope everybody had a great Turkey Day. I hope you stayed away from the butterballs. We'll get into that later.
That brings a whole new term to butterball.
They come pre-tenderized and pre-marinated. That's horrible. But as I said earlier, I spent the day with my nephew when we was talking off air, and there's a realtor in our hometown now, and she goes by the Barbie theme. And I don't guess he's ever seen the billboards. And so this billboard, it's all Barbie font.
Okay.
He's dressed in solid pink, manufactured looks, And he's sitting there talking. He's like, yeah, on Roblox, we do this, we do that. And he looks over, he goes, what in the fuck?
Hey, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Oh, that's, and kids are great. How old is your nephew?
He's 11 now. Yeah.
Okay. I've got a 12-year-old granddaughter, and for Thanksgiving, we do traditional. We'll do turkey, ham, that kind of stuff. But for Christmas, we don't. Last year we had, I think, fried shark and redfish. The year before, it was like all finger foods. So we always switch that up. And so I'd asked her little sister, okay, what do you want for Thanksgiving? She goes, tacos. And I'm like, okay, we're not having tacos for Thanksgiving.
Why not?
We will do a taco bar for our Christmas thing because I hadn't made a decision yet. So they're kind of other siblings, they have another family, as it were. And I said, go and find out for me if there's something special that they would like for the taco bar and everything. So she comes back in. She goes, well, Alex said he would like, Sabrina wants taco rice. So I'm assuming, Spanish rice. And then Alex said he wants chicken corbolas. And I'm like,
chicken corbola?
Yeah. I'm like, what?
Hey, Stephen.
And she's like, well, I don't know. That's what she said. I'm like, okay, if their mom makes some kind of special dish, they need to tell me what it is or have her contact me or something like that and everything. So the next thing, my son dies laughing. I'm like, what? He goes, when she walked in the bedroom door, the first thing out of her mouth is, she doesn't know what the fuck that is. Like, okay, I didn't hear her, so I can't fuss at her about it. But about that time, here she comes. I'm sorry. She said she misunderstood. It's chicken quesadillas.
Oh,
nice.
Okay, now I can do that all day long.
That is nice. Speaking of special dishes, leads straight into our Friday feel good moment of the week. The headline here is a Mississippi teacher was fired after allegedly feeding students dog treats mistaken for beef jerky.
What's wrong with that?
Well, here's the thing. They fired her, and I'm thinking about all the atrocious stuff that we know that teachers have done, and they just been placed on administrative leave.
Yeah.
Right.
But
if
yeah,
anything,
they fired her for accidentally giving, I think it was like 8 kids dog treats. The district alerted the children's parents of the situation. It transpired during what was intended to be a birthday celebration for a few students, and one child was taken to the doctor with a tummy ache.
Oh.
and I'm going to say this, I will put you $1 against the nickel. That child had a stomach ache because somebody made a big deal about it in front of them.
Yes.
Oh yeah, 100.
How many? I mean, I'll be candid here. When I was a child, I totally tried a dog treat.
Well, I watched Mel Gibson smoking on one of the lethal weapons eating dog treat.
Yeah.
Well, like there was the ones like that smelled exactly like Slim Jims, and my intrusive thoughts took over one day, and I'm like, I just took a little nibble. It doesn't taste like Slim Jims.
I mean, when I was a kid, I ate poinsettia plants. The kids eat crazy stuff anyway. This is kind of messed up because the food that they give dogs nowadays, I would gladly eat some of it. Like it's
Hey,
well, that's more healthy than a lot of like people food.
I was going to say, if grocery prices go through the roof next year, we might be looking a little bit closer at things.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is they fired this teacher for that. And you could probably go to the school lunches ingredients and find stuff with stuff you can't even pronounce that causes some kind of crazy cancer. Yeah. Like it's crazy.
Yes, it is. I totally agree with that because, like I said, I know as a parent, my kids have eaten and ingested more crap that they shouldn't have. Just walking in and they're sitting in the floor with the dog eating food, or anything else. Well, I mean,
Stephen makes a good point. A lot of dog treats now do look like actual beef jerky.
They do.
I know somebody that thought one of the dog cookies was real and, and might have ate it.
I don't want to bring that up. She'll get mad. But I mean, what they're saying here is at least 8 children consumed at least one bite of these.
Right.
One bite. You're going to fire somebody over one bite when it was a complete accident in the first place. That's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the reality is a lot of people have the 5-second rule and they'll drop food on their floor. And I've seen some of their floors. I wouldn't have a 1-second rule.
I call it a 20-minute rule. Like,
that's cool, Landa.
If I get done eating, I see I dropped a piece of chicken and the dogs ain't snatch it up. It's going back on the plate. I don't care what.
Did you guys see any weird stories floating out there, like odd news?
Yeah, there was a. Let's see. Let me get this article pulled up. I'm just going to read straight from the article because I'm lazy. So after a month of unexplained bouts of a stomach pain, an otherwise healthy 16-year-old girl arrived at emergency department in Massachusetts General Hospital. Ain't that a TV show?
General Hospital is.
Oh, all right.
I don't know if it's Massachusetts, but it's
So when they CT scanned her, her body, there wasn't nothing really unusual in there, and the blood test and all that stuff was normal. But the same was found 2 weeks prior that she arrived to a different hospital complaining of stomach pains. She was discharged home with instructions to take painkillers. Sweet. A medication for ulcers and another to prevent nausea and vomiting. Painkillers didn't help. The pain was unbearable. They needed to up it. Her pain worsened, of course, and something was clearly wrong. So what ends up happening is they end up doing another scan, and they find a 2.5-inch hairball.
A hairball?
Yeah, they call it the Rapunzel syndrome. I'm not 100% sure what that is. So apparently she's just ingesting her hair from what I'm seeing here.
Well, wouldn't that pass just like corn or anything else that's undigestible?
Yeah, it was immediately blocking the passage of food, causing pain, and foreign mass formed from accumulation of material that had been ingested. So this hairball had basically stopped everything, and everything was accumulating there.
That's crazy.
Huh.
So she was eating her hair.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking here. Neat.
That's nuts.
Now, when I had a mullet that reached down to my butt, I used to flip it around and chew on it all the time. Why didn't that happen to me?
Maybe you wouldn't
Maybe
eat
you weren't
enough of
swallowing it.
Oh, I swallowed. I don't spit.
Good to know.
it. Ignorant.
Okay, I have one. but
Okay.
I would like to show a picture first. So give me 1 second. Okay, y'all see that?
Yep.
All
Sweet.
right.
I
So-
actually know this one. This is
Yeah, this is crazy. Okay, so I'm going to close it back down. So
I
that
feel like looking at this, we're about to get into some money laundering territory.
yeah.
I can tell
Actually-
just by looking at it, we're in money laundering territory.
All right. A cryptocurrency entrepreneur
yeah.
bought that banana that was duct taped to a wall as an art piece for $6.2 million last week.
Money laundering. Because I think the way that works, they can buy artwork like that and then turn
Yep.
around and use it as a, like they could donate it or something and write off that amount of money off their taxes.
He ate it the next day.
Hell,
Because what he got was a single banana and a roll of duct tape.
also,
He
this
didn't even get that.
I'll sell this to anybody watching right now for $2 million. This is the illustration of the world that we live in.
That's
Can you
great.
take it away?
That's art.
That's art.
You need to pitch it to the crypto bosses.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is, it's called, the name of the piece is called Comedian by Italian artist Maurizio Catalan. He's been doing crap like this since 2019 and selling it to people.
There's got to be an angle. Like, there's just no way.
This
Yeah.
is called Crush Bottle.
I have a limited edition 2-piece set that I will give you for the perfect price of $500.
That's insane to me.
There was a Friday feel good that I was going to put on that I ended up not. But I'll talk about it because I know that at some point we're going to be doing our Mandela Weird Awakenings episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep coming back to so Michelangelo's David. This is a new Mandela that came out about a month or two ago.
What is he doing? Packing a hog now?
No, he's not packing a hog. But apparently, if you look at the statue's eyes, like just Google David's eyes, they're hearts.
We've already done that. We've already talked about this.
Have we talked about it?
Yeah.
We talked about it, I think, the weekend you weren't here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
I was going to put that on here, but I was like, I'll save it for the Mandela.
But still save it for the Mandela. And Landa, I will let you have the set for $4.95.
$495.
Well, Cecil, do you want to cover the turkey abuse?
As I say, I'm not talking about the turkeys.
I don't know if we should.
Well, I'm sure that they're going to be suing PETA suing them over defamation.
Oh yeah, defamation for sure.
It's all alleged, so just keep that in mind.
So if you haven't heard, and I'm glad that we had Thanksgiving yesterday so that we can bring this news to you today. And hope that you enjoyed the Butterball turkey, because an undercover investigation for the animal rights group, People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, accuses the Butterball slaughterhouse workers of sexually abusing turkeys in recent resurfaced allegations. Now, what's really shocking about this is this isn't the first time this has came up. Like they said, it has resurfaced from 2006. So this has been a long, long time, nearly 20 years. And this happened in Ozark, Arkansas. Hey, that's close to where Steven is.
Stephen, talk to your people.
And location and Ozark, Arkansas location in 2006 was shared by PETA in the lead up to a campaign to Thanksgiving. Now, the nonprofit organization has been sharing on social media content urging viewers to boycott the holiday staple this year. In the clip, an anonymous undercover investigator claims he saw Butterball employees shoving their fingers in the turkey's cloaca? I can't say that word, which is basically its nether regions. Saying that some of the workers even bragged about the abuse. Graphic footage reveals an employee boasting about kicking the bug out of the bird, causing the bird's eyeballs to pop. Oh God, causing the bird's eyeballs to pop out. Animal.
Now, if that's a live bird that they're talking about, that is terrible.
That's
like, I mean, it's terrible either way, but it's way more terrible if they're like stomping.
Well,
like,
you know,
torturing
it
animals.
says a lot about you as a person to do that to a dead or alive, you know, animal.
Well, it used to be that if you worked in a slaughterhouse, you could only do it for so long, like a period of time, and you had to switch jobs because it would numb your humanity.
This is a pretty rough article. Animal rights groups say that 2 decades old exposure is not an isolated incident. In 2021, a PETA investigation into Plainview Farms also documented workers simulating sex acts on turkeys. 11 employees were charged with animal cruelty as a result of the investigation, which captured videos of workers kicking, stomping, and beating turkeys at several farms. 139 charges were filed. This is so crazy. No charges were brought against Butterball for PETA's 2006 investigation, but in 2011, a North Carolina Butterball plant was raided after workers once again were caught abusing turkeys. Butterball is the second largest turkey producer in the United States, which I'm sure everybody here has ate. If you've ate turkey, you've probably ate Butterball at some point.
I ate one yesterday, so
yeah. The company has acknowledged the footage set, but it says the video is not current and no way reflects our animal welfare policies. So they're like, yeah, we've done it before. Not now, but recently. This is woo, that's a wild one. I'm really torn on it. I'm not torn that why was there not like company cameras?
Yeah, where's HR? Like
yeah.
You would think with something, if there were allegations at some point, that would have been the first thing they did was put cameras.
Yeah, because that's a PR disaster. You would think after the first, like even if it was just allegations, you would put some sort of checks and balances in place to make sure somebody's not humping turkeys out on the line. You know what I mean?
Line, yeah. Wow.
What kind of people are they hiring at these?
It was Arkansas, dude. It's as bad as Kentucky. Like they'd be like having a plant in.
I know the rumors about Kentucky. I do, but I guarantee if we had a slaughterhouse around here, if somebody was caught, I hate to say this, but fucking a turkey, they would be not working there very long. Somebody would say something. I know for a fact it wouldn't be a gaggle of crew abusing turkeys.
Because here's the thing too. Okay, you've got a sicko. You know, there's this one sick, perverted asshole that comes along, but he's got 10 buddies in the background going, "Woo, I'm next."
Yeah, cheering them on.
You know, right? That's insane.
There ain't no fixing that.
No. It's there's a fix for it, but I can't say it live.
There's something terribly wrong with people like that.
Yes, because I mean I could fix a lot of problems. You know, I'm not a huge fan of what is the dude's name? Christopher Titus. He's a stand-up comic. Don't know if you're familiar with him.
I don't know what he's done recently, but I used to love that TV show.
And that's the only thing I've seen. And like I said, just not a real huge fan. But anyway, for some reason, something popped up on my feed the other day, and it was him doing stand-up. And when I started watching it, I'm like, oh, this is going to go south quick.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad I finished watching it, but that was his answer to fixing problems like in schools and different things was arm the children, not arm the parents or the teachers or the facilities, arm the children. And then after I listened to this, I ended up reposting it because I'm like, everybody really needs to hear this.
25 years ago, it might have flew.
Uh-huh.
But seeing kids nowadays, no.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, because well, that's what he's talking about. He said, you've got bullies. Well, hey, arm the children and it'll take care of itself, and then it was, just all these different things. And like I said, it was funny as hell. But then, spoiler alert, you get all the way to the end and he's like, because he's got the whole audience yelling, arm the children, arm the children. And he's like, okay, guys, this is how Hitler got started, because I just led every one of you to arm our school children, But like I said, up until that point, what he was saying, you're like, he may have a good point there, so.
As you probably well known from our conversations, Tully and I have become gun enthusiasts over the last few years. I am for sure. I was talking to my nephew today, and he's 11, so I was like, you know what? I need to pee. Can I trust you to sit in this car and not drive off while I run in here and pee? He said, yeah. I said, can I trust you to not touch this gun while I go in here and go pee? He went, yeah, I won't. He said, I know what to do with a gun. I said, explain. He said, well, you take the long end and you point it at something else. I said, okay, I'm taking the gun in with me.
yeah, exactly.
Love it.
So this next piece wasn't an article. This is kind of pieced together. I've been seeing rumors of this over the last week or two. But it has to do with, like, we know how, like, North Carolina was devastated by Hurricane Helene and what happened in Maui earlier in the year. And, it doesn't seem like those folks are getting the attention that they deserve, especially in Maui. But what's crazy, apparently, so the Amish has a heavy presence in Western North Carolina. And everybody who was impacted, so there was approximately 100,000 homes in Western North Carolina that impacted more than 200,000 people. So people have been living in trailers and tents and stuff. So the Amish, being the Amish, and who they, are as a people, they came and started building tiny homes for everybody so that they could stay warm as the temperatures dropped.
That's awesome.
Well, it is very awesome. But FEMA has came in and said that the tiny homes that they're building aren't up to code, and they're kicking victims out of their houses in lieu of these tents and stuff. And there's you can find it tweets all over Twitter about it, like with screenshots of the full code statement, but it's basically, I'll never understand it. It's because of procedure. They're saying that they're not following procedure by building these houses for these people. Like, they're not going and getting the I don't know, whatever official document you need to build a house for somebody who's freezing to death. It's just bureaucracy stuff. And FEMA also came out and, like, disputed that anybody was even living in tents. And there's clear footage. And I don't know if you care to play the video or not. It doesn't matter to me. But there's a video with clear footage of people living in tents. And people are getting drone footage of people living in tents and campers and stuff.
Do we need audio?
No.
Okay. And the thing about it is from what I've seen and everything, there are people that are above those flooded out areas that they can't even get trailers and stuff to. All they have are tents and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, the Amish has a 56 passenger busload of people that's been coming to build tiny homes. They built over 100, and then right around the 100 mark, or maybe a little bit over 100, they got popped by FEMA and are moving people out of the tiny homes back into these tent camps and stuff because the homes aren't quote unquote up to code by FEMA's standards for temporary living. Like anything the Amish builds is quality. Like it's
Hell
fast,
yes.
it's fast, and it's quality, and they're throwing these houses up like crazy. It's very disheartening that, and it's the Amish. Like it's crazy to me that they're almost accusing them of doing something nefarious by trying to house these people when they're literally doing it out of the good of their heart. They're bringing their own materials. They're 100% self-sufficient. They're not asking the government for money to do this. It's just
not asking for anything in return.
Well, that's the problem. If you don't ask the government to help build something, then they don't get kickbacks. They don't get over.
Well, yeah, it's like I know you guys have heard that scenario where this dude walked in a park every day and the stairs were messed up, and he petitioned the county, and the county's like, "Oh, well, we'll have to bring it up in next year's budget meeting." So he brings his own wood and tools and everything and fixes the stairs.
Yeah.
The county tears it down and fines him for fixing the stairs, and then says like when they find him for the amount to repair it. And it was like some absurd amount, like 10 grand to repair the steps that he had already repaired for free.
Well, another thing about this whole thing is they're saying that it's not up to code, which I know is complete BS. We don't have a big Amish community down here, but we have a big Mennonite community, which, they kind of tread on the same water, except Mennonites have more access to electronics and all this blah, blah, blah. But most of the new houses in Clay County, Kentucky, I believe, are built by the Mennonites. like that's who they go to. Like I know my aunt and uncle had their massive house built by the Mennonites.
Yeah.
And they are always strict by the code. They're like, if they don't think it's right, they won't do it. They'll do it over. And that's how the Amish are. They do things correctly. This is 100% got to do with budgeting and getting kickbacks. Like
it's nuts though. Like you think about all the stuff we're spending money on, and we can't help these people. Like it's not even a money thing. Like the Amish are trying to just help them out of an ethical, philosophical standpoint, and they can't even do that. And one of the tweets that I pulled from this, somebody said, because a tent in late autumn, early winter weather is safer than an Amish built cottage, right? It said that, I guess the chief of code's name was David Ritlinger. And it said that the bureaucrat quoted in the release is living in a 2,100 square foot heated home in Wake Forest, which is in the area. And he said it would be a shame, or she said that it would be a shame if people showed up there with their tents. If they kicked me out of my Amish home, I'm going and pitching my tent in the yard of the chief of code for sure.
What really makes me mad about this too, like these cottages are probably better than these shed houses people are living in.
Oh,
and
hell yeah.
You see them everywhere. Last time I went to North Carolina, I seen people living in shed homes. Tiny houses is what they call it.
Oh yeah, that's the new tiny home thing. Is you go to somebody who sells portable buildings,
right?
And they throw some walls up in there.
Right down the road on my road that I live on is a tiny village, tiny home village of this family, and I never fully understood this. All right, so they said we moved to the tiny homes to lessen our impact on the earth or something like that. They've got a main living quarters, 2 other sheds for the bedrooms for the kids, a bathhouse for the kids, place for chickens. So all in all, they got about 2,100 square feet of tiny homes. So I don't understand the difference. Like,
Yeah, well, I have a conspiracy about all of that. You know how maybe in like 2016, 2017, you started seeing a lot of glamorization of not just tiny homes with the TV shows and stuff, but overlanding.
yeah,
Basically, you're homeless. You know what I mean? Like you literally homeless. You're living out of a car,
yeah,
but it's built to live out of.
yeah.
I think they intentionally push some of that stuff to glamorize it so that people don't melt down over how expensive it is to be a property owner at this point.
Yeah.
Well, and I actually recently have been looking at tiny houses because right now my stepfather passed away earlier this year, and the house that he and my mom lived in was way too much for two people. It's definitely way too much for my mom by herself. I mean, it's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. She's got 2 full acres of beautiful grassland that has to be cut and everything. So I told her, I said, what you need to do is sell that house. She's got 2 different people offering to buy the house, and get you a tiny house or just a single wide, mobile home, and put it on my piece of land, which is dead between my 2 brothers. I'm like, that way, they are right there if you need anything. They don't have to worry about, because she lives 30 miles out of town. So I'm like, now if you don't answer your phone and they go into panic mode, they've got to drive all the way out there. So, it would be better for you all the way around.
Yeah.
But some of those tiny homes are $150,000, $200,000 for 200 square feet.
But
My God.
now a regular house though, like a ranch, is $300,000.
Yeah.
There's no winning scenario.
There's
here.
not, but I think I could get an actual real life house built. Beautiful house for $200,000 as opposed to a 200 square foot tiny home. That doesn't even have an actual full bathroom in it,
Yeah, I mean, for $200,000, you could definitely get a foundation, like something, something on a foundation. I don't know how big it would be.
I don't know.
But my mom doesn't need a 3,000 square foot house,
Right.
and that's what she currently has. She could get a 900 square foot house, and that would give her plenty of room. And I think she could do that for $200,000 easily, especially at home, because it's still backwoods.
I don't know how y'all's mortgages are laid out, or if you even got one anymore. But when I got my mortgage, we got a ridiculously low interest rate, and I'm just curious, since we're talking about houses, if you get this a lot. They're always wanting me to take home equity loans. And I thought about it. I was like, I would like to build onto the house. So I called them and I was like, all right, so you give me X amount of money. All right, cool. So this will just be tacked onto the loan. They're like, well, we have to rewrite your loan. I was like, oh, well, what would the interest rate be? They was like, oh, well, it'd be 6%. I laughed in her fucking face. I said, no. You are crazy. I'm not doing that. I was like, right now, my interest rate is like more than half less than that. Like,
I feel bad for people, like for the past couple of years, prime rates, I'm talking 800 credit score is 6%.
Yeah.
Of 6+.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
Well, that's a couple of years. Well, it's been more than a couple of years ago. It's about 10 years ago. Mo was looking at getting a truck. He just wanted single cab, full size, because he hauls lumber and stuff like that around. And we went to one of the little local places, and he looked at a used truck. It was like 2 years old and nothing fancy. It didn't have, any special, stereo equipment. It did not have anything automatic. It was just a bare bones pickup truck. That's what he wanted. The interest rate was like 6%, maybe 6.5%. A brand new one, the interest rate was 2%.
Yeah, they offer promos. Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I mean, so, you're in that case, we're like, well, it would be stupid. We would pay, I think it would have been like $4,000 or $5,000 more by getting the used vehicle than it was.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Mhm.
I don't know what's going on, what they're trying to accomplish, but I have a feeling like the car market's going to crash within the next year.
It's possible. I don't know, dude. It's same thing. Everybody keeps saying that about real estate, but what everybody's failing to understand is that the owners of these companies are these massive investment firms. They got too much money. Like they have way too much money.
Mhm.
So I think instead of the government bailing things out anymore, it's like the big investment firms like BlackRock, Blackstone, State Street, you name
Black
it.
concrete.
Yeah, Black Concrete. I always get Blackstone and BlackRock mixed up. Blackstone is actually who is purchasing most of the real estate, like the residential stuff, and renting it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to ever go down.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, in that case, I want one of those little pods. You know, it just like on what was that movie, The Fifth Element, that they threw you in and it knocked you out until you got across space. Just put me in one of those for a week at a time. Pull me out, let me work, put me back in it.
Yeah, it's already getting bad. Like if you have a newer car, you're being tracked everywhere. It listens to you.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got to deal with that.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know
Hell no.
it may be a little before your time. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna drive that damn truck until the wheels literally fall off and I die in a horrific accident.
Yeah. Mo sold his. He had a GMC, a 1965 GMC, and about 5 or 6 years ago, he decided to sell it because he didn't have time to do the work on it to redo it and everything. And he bitches about that every time he thinks about it. Because, like I said, you know, there was no way to trace you through it.
No.
But okay, so like I said, this may have been before your time. Do you remember the show WKRP in Cincinnati?
No.
Okay, it was a show. It was basically about a bunch of DJs, you know, and they did 70s music, stuff like that. I mean, you know, just typical run-of-the-mill 70s sitcom. But there was this big thing called the WKRP in Cincinnati Turkey Drop episode. And they've got this nerdy little guy. His name was Les Nessman. And he is waiting for this, you know, these turkeys they've decided to give away for Thanksgiving. So Les is standing on the side of the street and he's like, oh, look, there comes a helicopter. And it's got a streamer out behind it. And it says, Happy Thanksgiving, WKRP. And they're all, yay, you know, this is sounding so good. And he goes, oh, look, they've got jumpers. Oh, okay. They've got several jumpers. And he goes, but they're not opening their parachutes. And they go through this whole thing. And it ends up, these people are chunking frozen turkeys out of a helicopter for people on the ground. So these turkeys are like smashing into downtown streets in Cincinnati.
That'd be like missiles.
Yes,
like...
Exactly. You hear the crowd screaming and people running and everything. And Les is like, oh my God. It's like, you know, I mean, it was hilarious for its time. Well,
they were motorballs.
Yes, there you go. That story to tell you that in the remotest reaches of Alaska, you know, you don't have DoorDash for Thanksgiving dinner or anything like that. As a matter of fact, only 20% of Alaska is accessible by road.
Yeah.
Well, for the third straight year, a resident named Esther Kime has been flying low and slow in a small plane over rural parts of South Central Alaska, dropping frozen turkeys to those who can't just run out to the grocery store.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, and said that she remembered growing up in the Alaska homestead, and a family friend would airdrop turkeys to her family and others nearby for the holidays. And, you know, sometimes they may, you know, throw a pack of gum in for the kids or something like that. So a few years ago, she decided that she was going to start, you know, returning the favor to people who couldn't get to the grocery store.
That's the person holidays. You don't want to piss off, or you get carpet
right?
bombed by frozen turkeys.
WKRP turkey drop. So, you know, so I thought that was a pretty cool story.
That is cool. I think I seen the video for that literally this morning of her dropping it.
I have seen, that's what made it pop up. Something had come up in my feed about, you know, and then I've seen that turkey drop for that show 2 or 3 times this week. And Like, you know,
So-
that
Could you imagine how horrific that'd be? Turkeys falling at velocity.
Yeah.
that's right.
Every
So- something that that I wanted to definitely cover tonight is these giant swords that they're allegedly finding in Turkey, which it's in the seat, like it's in the kind of the seat of the world where, you know, they find a lot of giant bones. That was loud.
Did it come? I thought I turned the audio off.
No. So we can
Oh,
watch the video
wow.
first, and then I'll talk about it.
You can talk about it over.
Okay,
So
is that angle or no? Those are actually that flipping big.
like, imagine what would have to wield a sword that big. And you know, we've talked about, call it what you want, evolution, Nephilim, Anunnaki, giants. There's accounts of giants all over the world. If you haven't heard us talk about it, there are really famous museums that snatch up the bones every time they're found, and they disappear. And they also find these large swords and large axes and large tools and books all over the world, and just say that it's a coincidence, along with the huge doorways in some of the older cities.
It was an art exhibit.
So basically, it's sparking a lot of archaeological arguments that they found these swords. And the article goes, the discovery of the swords have sparked fascination amongst historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts. These oversized weapons are a testament to the rich and enigmatic past of civilizations that once thrived in the region. But what exactly are these giant swords? Well, they were weapons. So, you know, the way that this goes, regardless of whether you follow like Nephilim theory or Anunnaki, or you believe that there was some, you know, like the aliens in the ocean that they're talking about, like maybe it's them, or Atlanteans, like you name it. There's tons of theories out there, but the general consensus, regardless of which theory you follow, is that sort of the first generation of all of these were huge, like ridiculously tall, like 50 feet tall, like crazy tall. And then the later generations were more like 15 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes down from there. Like, I think the Kandahar giant, I forget what year that was, but I believe they estimated it to be like 13 feet tall.
Yeah.
So these massive weapons remind me of like the Titans, you know, the description of Titans from the mythology. And some of them are even bigger than that. I don't know if you've ever seen the axe that looked like it was put in the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
But that thing would have had to have been wielded by something 200 feet tall.
Or me.
Or you, yeah. Yeah. You are the Elden Lord. Like, but yeah, I'm not even going to get into like the whole nitty gritty of the article, just because it's always going to be the same story. And same with, it really pissed me off when they found the huge katana in Japan. Because they're like, oh, it was just a decoration. Like, they just wanted to see how big they could make a sword.
It was a sign for the shop. So
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this out, and this is just, you know, me thinking, you know, because this is how my brain works. They can go in and say, oh, yes, there were 400-foot long dinosaurs, but they can't say that humans were larger.
No,
at one
because
point.
the archaeological community is being gate kept. That's why people like Graham Hancock can't get a foot in.
And
Yeah.
the 400-foot dinosaurs wore 400-foot giants too. I mean, let's be real.
Oh yeah,
Well, you know, the giants needed something to ride on.
yeah. And you can't tell me that So the term dinosaur, that was what, early 1900s, late 1800s?
1860.
Like George Washington wouldn't have known what a dinosaur was.
No.
It just blows my mind that they just started finding these complete skeletons after the archaeological community was established.
Yeah.
And then you go to these museums and realize that those aren't actually skeletons. Like they don't have complete skeletons. There's a lot, like once you start getting into it, that seems weird.
Yeah.
Well, and when you start putting stuff together, it's kind of like, a puzzle, the old timey puzzles that you put together. You can make pieces fit, or you can speculate over
Yes.
what you think it should look like. So it makes sense that that's how you're piecing together dinosaurs or whatever.
No, I do think that large reptiles 100% existed.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
But like the 400 million different types, maybe not.
Mhm.
But like we've talked about the bronchiosaur being spotted to this day in the Congo, like an elephant-sized one.
Right.
And then every region in the whole world has descriptors of dragons.
Mhm.
So there was definitely some sort of both flighted and flightless reptiles, massive ones.
Right. And we've looked at the artwork of multiple pieces, not just one, that show dinosaur type animals in them. And if you have no history of what a dinosaur is, how the hell do you paint that into something? And I'm all about people having imaginations, but they're too close to what is described.
The architecture, like the pyramids make, giants explain that away really easy. Like if you've got 20-foot tall men, they can lift bigger blocks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's one of those things, though. I mean, history's always wrote by the victors, and at some point they decided that there was a reason we shouldn't know that giants were a thing at some point.
Yeah. Well, I think probably like if you believe in it and you follow the stories, especially like Nephilim based stories, they were basically kings, like the kings of the planet. And they hated each other. They hated humanity. And it was a rough way to go for a while until eventually it got liberated. If you follow the Anunnaki story, it's kind of the same way, except they were on this planet to mine gold, allegedly to filter their atmosphere somehow.
Yeah.
And then they left. They created us as a slave race and left.
Right.
But apparently they left twice. Like they left once, and then the second generation of shorter ones were on the planet, and that's where the parallel to like the Tower of Babel. And when Big Brother came back, the Anunnaki, and saw what these human hybrids had done, they destroyed the whole planet and created a second version, which was us with muted DNA to where we didn't live as long and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
all of the rabbit holes go kind of deep, no matter which theory you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, fully. And plus, you got to realize, too, the oxygen content was so much better back then. Like, there was more oxygen. Like, we slowly lose oxygen constantly out into what you would call outer space. But,
what you would call outer space?
Yeah. Well, I mean, wasn't it you? I don't know if you have this on here, but wasn't it you that sent me the article where they said that one of the astronauts almost drowned?
Yes.
In a spacewalk.
There was an astronaut that almost, they did publish that.
They came out and said he almost drowned because his suit started filling up with water in outer space.
There was another clip during these most recent UFO hearings where one of the dudes slipped up and was like, and we have to beat China to the moon.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. But yeah, that whole deal, I mean, it's slowly coming unraveled. And I think, I mean, we talked about this the other week. There's only a couple reasons why they would come out and tell you that there's beings in the ocean. And one of those is that they can't control that people are going to know about it soon. Yeah. Like the other option is that they are the aliens. You know what I mean? Like, like there's no way that if a whole civilization has been living in our oceans, they haven't made contact And if they have made contact, that means they're probably already integrated somehow into society.
Do you think some kind of treaty might be running out?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the government's like, we need to tax them. Like we like who's knocking on their door being like, what does the quantum nuclear technology that you're using do to our environment?
Yeah.
Like you're blasting off out of the ocean. Like what's that doing to
Or the government's favorite question, how do we make money off of it?
Yeah, exactly. How
Come on now. I had
make
somebody
money
tell
off-
me that, back in the 1700s, you guys would have been considered giants because, the average man was only 5'3". And I'm like, come on. I realize 6'4" is tall, but 6'4" is not so tall that you go, oh my God, he's a giant.
No, and I honestly, I think the gigantism recessive gene is left over from that DNA.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like I said, when you can come across those photographs and stuff from, early photography showing people, standing here like this and Cecil's head doesn't come close to dude's hand.
I can still whip his ass.
I would put money on you in an instant. But like I said, because as much as I feel like they try to hide so much stuff, they can't hide everything. So some things are going to slip through. And like I said, we've talked before about the fact that the early internet, this stuff was all readily available.
Oh yeah, it was all over the place.
Oh,
yeah.
And it got scrubbed for a reason. YouTube took it all down. This used to be all over YouTube too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's fake, what's the problem with having a fake video about giants?
Right. Exactly. Why are you going to get rid of that? And because I was listening to a comedian the other day talking about that song, I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's, you can count on me. Well, evidently it's not count on me anymore. It's something else.
Yes,
you can plan on me. I think that's what it is.
That's
now.
a Mandela as well.
Yes,
you
can
exactly. That's one of the newer ones.
That doesn't sound right.
No, it does.
Listen to it. It sounds bizarre compared to what it used to.
Yeah,
we'll have to play it during the Mandela episode,
well,
right?
Like Johnny Cash's "When I Was Just a Young Boy." Now it says "When I Was Just a Baby."
Right.
That doesn't even make sense.
No.
No,
it doesn't.
Yeah, like.
But again, why change something that stupid?
Yeah,
it's different times.
Landa said it's because they aren't carrying ocean insurance.
Well, if anybody can sell emotion insurance, I bet I could. I'll go down there and get them some insurance.
Shit. Well, I wanted to hit this just in case anybody listening to the show can make money. And this is probably a good point, especially if you're listening in the future. Go wherever you're at and follow us so that you can have future shows.
I would say buy
watch future shows.
I would say buy us a coffee, but apparently Buy Me a Coffee sent us an email that neither one of us checked. And we got some verification to do.
Oh no! Well, people can still buy us a coffee. That's just when Cecil wants to cash it out to pay for our StreamYard, he's going to have to add some stuff in. But do
you need a fake email address, Cecil? I can fix you up.
So if you are in the market to make $2 million, there is a crypto lord that has hidden $2 million in treasure across the United States, and he left mysterious clues on how to find them. The entrepreneur hid 5 chests full of loot and valuables and left a book full of clues to help hunters find them all. His name is John Collins Black. He made a fortune off of Bitcoin and has spent the last few years assembling valuable items ranging from shipwreck salvaged gold doubloons to rare Pokemon cards, all for the purpose of this treasure hunt. There's a book called There's Treasure Inside, which is filled with puzzles and maps and all the clues needed to discover the location of the treasure chests. You don't need to be a genius. There's no grand cipher. If you have curiosity, imagination, and willingness to try something new, you can find the treasures that I've hidden, he said.
Couple things.
Because he wants people to find the treasure before he dies, is what he said.
Mhm.
Um,
I think he needs to come down off the price of the book a little bit because
how much is the book?
$50.
Maybe I'll get it for everybody for Christmas.
I was gonna say we could go in together and get it, you know. And I've spent $50 on a book before, but they were a guarantee. I knew what I was getting into, you know.
You got stuff like Michael Jordan's 1986 rookie card, gold and historical artifacts. There's also a single Bitcoin, which is currently worth $100,000. What's crazy? Here's what's nuts, and I kick myself every day for this.
Yeah, me too.
And even in 2020, like you thought that Bitcoin was like too expensive to buy.
Yeah.
But if you would have bought a Bitcoin for $7,000, I know that's a ton of money, or even a piece of a Bitcoin for $7,000 in 2020, it'd be worth $100,000 today.
Yeah.
In the early 2010s, I had a chance to claim 400 Bitcoin.
You should have.
I didn't know what the fuck it was. I didn't know what it was. Somebody wanted to buy something off of me. So
it was harder back then too because you didn't have things like mainstream trades. It was literally like you had to have a wallet.
Yeah.
Like
I know a guy that did have a bunch of Bitcoin, and he was buying stuff off the Silk Road.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
is he in prison?
No, he ain't. But he said I probably spent 10,000 Bitcoin on weed.
Well, back then it wasn't worth much.
No.
Well, my son had a friend that bought it when it first came out, and you could get it for next to nothing. And 3 or 4 years later, you remember they said, "Oh, it's going out. You know, it's fixing to crash and everything." And he sold it and made thousands. You know, which now doesn't seem like a lot, but for back then, you know, he paid $30-$40 for what he had and sold it for $5,000 or $6,000.
If he made money, who cares? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
The way I look at it, if I would have got that 400 Bitcoin, it probably wouldn't have ever shot up this high.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But another thing too, because I did read up some on this guy, and I watched an interview with him. Evidently, it's not just those 5 chests; those are the big ones. There are smaller, just like little individual things.
We should totally see if there's any near us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to do it because I get hyper obsessive about things.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
And I might quit my fucking job to search for it. Like I'm a treasure.
And what was it? He said something about every one of them were within 3 miles of a public roadway. I mean, so they're not like in dangerous places and stuff like that.
You don't got to climb down ravines or rappel.
Exactly. In the tunnels behind Mackey's Club.
Yeah, under the Denver airport.
Right.
I'll probably end up in Fromville or something.
Well, the other thing,
I'm glad you said that because I want to put Denver Airport on our stuff to cover next year.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
So they found an amulet that references the band tale of King Solomon fighting demons.
Nice.
And it's supposed to be a 5th century amulet. It's also in Turkey. Everything's going down in Turkey this week.
Because it's Thanksgiving.
But they're
trying to give you a positive spin on turkeys.
You know, the Lesser Key of Solomon and the book of the Bible referencing Solomon was banned because it included themes of dark magic, which it is.
Yeah.
But the amulet was found among the ruins of a military structure in an ancient quarter of the Turkish city, Patagonia. I don't know how to pronounce it. By archaeologists from Karabukh University. That city would have been under the rule of the Roman Empire at the time the amulet was made and worn. On the object is a depiction of King Solomon riding a horse according to the apocryphal text, the Testament of Solomon was given a magic ring by the archangel Michael. And, with this ring, you have the lesser key of Solomon that comes out of that, which you can still get today. It's been translated and shows the whole hierarchy of hell. Very interesting.
That is Paphlagonia.
I was reading.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was reading along with that, and when you said the Roman Empire at the time, the amulet was made and worn. For some reason, I kept reading it as of the time the Roman Empire at the time that a mullet was made and worn. I thought they all had dope ass haircuts for some reason.
That's great. That's great.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it. If you want to show it.
Ooh, neat. That tells a whole story, huh?
Yeah. So the Testament of Solomon is not considered canon by either the Christians or the Jewish folk. In the early parts of the millennium, when the Bible had yet to be formalized by any organization of Christians, many apocryphal texts were written and considered extra textual to the Torah, the Gospels, the letters, and any other canon texts.
Wow.
But yeah, this is like liken it to the Watchers. Like it got yeeted because it's scary, pretty much. I don't know.
They said there were also the names of 4 archangels inscribed on the back of it.
Metal.
That could be Greek.
Israel, Gabriel, Michael, and Israfil, all carved in Greek.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to have to go find the Testament of Solomon and read it now.
This is, it's wild the stuff that's probably buried out there that was covered up by the previous nuclear wars. Like, I don't know. They're finding all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm surprised that we even got any kind of word of this. This seems like a Smithsonian or Vatican City artifact right here.
Mm-hmm. Well, the wrong person found it and they leaked the image is probably what happened. Mm-hmm. So for now, you won't be able to find it.
Yeah.
Do you want to play the video of the snake controlling a robot?
Yeah, that tripped me the hell out. This is a snake.
We can get into some video playing. We'll play some videos and react.
There was a snake.
So a company in China called Deep Road.
What the hell?
Wow.
All right, I'm going to turn the sound off. I shared without sound. I don't understand.
That sounds like an ID10T to me.
So
we were discussing that before you came on tonight.
We were literally talking about that before you even came on tonight. This is a snake walking with a damn robot.
Oh, that is creepy.
I don't know if any of you watch Rick and Morty.
I do not.
But there is a episode where they go to a snake world and they end up using robots and stuff to walk. So this is the beginnings of that 100%. How does it control it? What does it do? It has no fingers. It has no legs.
It's reading its mind.
It has to, right?
Yeah.
Or it's just going the way the snake.
Or there's sensors that's maybe
it's like kind of a horse. You can use your legs and pressure and stuff to move it.
Yeah.
That's one of my. That's a new fear unlocked. I'm gonna go into the woods.
Now it is a lizard. They've evolved into lizards.
I'm gonna go into the woods. No, it's just a lizard. But I'm gonna go into the woods. I'm gonna see a copperhead running at me with damn robot legs.
Yeah.
And I'm still gonna view it.
Let's hit. I think all those drone videos are from the same account. We can hit some crazy drone videos too.
Is enhanced night vision goggles.
I don't think the night vision is it.
Oh yeah, we can still play that one though. That's crazy. Have you seen that?
No. You want to watch it first or drones?
It don't matter. We can react to each of them.
I don't know where the full screen is. This is making me mad. But right here's
there might be short keys for it. I don't know. So this is a drone that is probably a Geneva, or is this the goggles?
That's the drone.
Oh yeah,
wow.
that's the Geneva Buster right there. The Trench Drone 9000. It spits flames like a dragon, and it's made to burn out trenches.
I need one of those.
Yeah, I could use it to burn some garbage.
Right? Yeah.
That's nuts.
Hey,
Yeah.
some people just up the street from me got evicted recently, and that would be such an easy way to get rid of all the trash that has accumulated and get rid of the eyesore.
They really are. Like, we've seen drones with machine guns mounted recently, and now you've got a trench busting, flame throwing drone. Like, at what point is ethics and like human, like, at what point does it become a war crime?
The dog drones really bother me.
Yeah.
This next one's going to bother you a lot then.
Okay.
Let's give credit to this handsome devil. What's his name? Kagan_Dunlop.
He posts a lot of drone stuff. It just comes up, and I'm like, oh, that would be good for the show.
Look at that.
This is an all-terrain dog drone. It goes two-legged, and then it can go four-legged over any terrain at like 30 miles an hour. Usain Bolt couldn't outrun this dog.
What in the world, man? Look at this. It's climbing.
I've seen too many movies where the dog drones just go absolutely batshit.
Yeah, and it's it is China that developed this one. It's all terrain. They claim that there's no terrain it can't go through. Other than maybe the flame throwing drones that we were talking about.
See, I trust a real dog that I don't know being aggressive more so than that.
Yeah.
Because that has no conscience. It cannot in any way decide whether I'm a good person or not.
I know.
Enhanced.
And you think about Chat GPT getting in something like that. Or like, some sort of crazy artificial intelligence.
Totally got you.
Moving forward, remind me to mute every video I have pulled up before we start this.
This next one is a new, they call it Night Vision, but it is the Night Vision actually targets in real time so that you can see objects in the sky. You can also see objects coming out of the object. So in this video, you'll see it drop out parachuters, and they can now see outlines of things. There's a parachuter. See it dropping people out?
Mm-hmm.
So you think D-Day, like you're dropping airborne, and now you can see it all from the ground.
What would be really impressive is if them parachuters jumped out of that one plane and went onto the other one and climbed it. That'd be fun.
It kind of looked like it might do that for just a second.
Well, with this technology, it's going to be extremely dangerous to do sort of like D-Day, traditional D-Day operations.
Right.
But who else has it? I don't know. This is so crazy. Like, it just outlines everything. How's it?
It's technology, dude.
Technology, man.
And now, like we had the article, like 6 months ago, where the Army's going to be giving everybody a personal drone.
Yep.
So, I mean, the tech is here. We're not too far off from having full-blown robot wars.
Terminator, Idiocracy. I mean, there are so many old 80s and 90s shows that were turning out to be prophecy.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Dude, we're so close to Idiocracy. I've seen some crazy stuff recently.
It's crazy to me, and I know I've said this a bunch, and I'll keep saying it. People are like, we keep getting gaslit over nuclear war, and I feel like that's just something, like the boomer generation today. They were told about it because their parents lived through World War
Cold
II
War.
and saw the bombs drop, and it was just awesome thing back then. But the real terrifying thing is like when Beijing shows these 2 million drone shows where, you know, each drone could be equipped with just enough C4 to do a little damage. Imagine they drop 2 million drones on a city with facial recognition.
Right.
That is
Or-
way more productive than dropping a nuke on a city.
Or filling them with biologicals.
Yes.
I haven't shaved
No.
my beard in a while, but every time I shave my beard, I do have to redo my facial stuff for my phone because it won't read my face anymore. So I'm just going to keep the beard until I see him fall out of the sky. Then I want to start.
There you go. Cut it all off.
Yeah. It would
But
be
yeah.
it'd be way more productive to drop, 10 million little drones on a city than a bomb.
Well, like I said, and the long-term ramifications of dropping nukes, I think everybody knows that. You're going to have a pretty insane person to, I think, take that step, because
Yes.
we do know what it'll do.
Well, it'll blow back on them. Like
Exactly.
depending on how big it is, like
Mhm.
there's no escaping that.
Right.
It's
Because,
a permanent
like I said,
solution to a temporary problem.
right. So you have like Chernobyl. That was a small nuclear meltdown, and it's still not habitable. So, I think everybody knows that's like I say, a permanent solution.
Yeah.
But like I say, you start dropping small ones that can recognize faces or throwing biologics on them, you can wipe out an entire country and never lose a man or woman
Yep.
in your country.
I don't like to talk about this much because I don't know. Like it's one of the things. It's one of the things I don't know to the point to where I'm like, they could not. But there is a theory, and it's a conspiracy theory that I don't buy into a whole lot. But it's possible that there aren't even nuclear bombs.
I've heard that. Like the ones they dropped in Japan were atomic.
Yes, that's
And
right.
there is that theory that nuclear never existed, that all we've been seeing like in the old videos are atomic.
Mhm.
But that's still a lot of bomb, dude. Like you could blow up a city, like for sure.
Yeah, it's
Right.
big.
Because
I think-
where was it? Out in Arizona in the desert that they did a lot of the atomic testing and stuff. And I mean,
Yeah.
just
There's still
holes
radiation.
and stuff. Mhm.
Well, there's a conspiracy around that those places actually aren't as radiated as they say they are. They just don't want people going there for some
Right. Because that's what Hiroshima and everything. I mean, they're happy that people live there now.
Yeah,
Did
they
you
rebuilt really fast.
Yeah.
Did you see where you can purchase dogs from Chernobyl now?
Oh, I want one.
I have heard that they were doing that in the past, and every time I see pictures, I'm like, oh, I need a Chernobyl puppy. But no, I don't need a Chernobyl puppy.
The headline was the dogs of Chernobyl are experiencing rapid evolution.
Mhm.
And just because of the radiation, like, well, you've seen the deer and all the other crazy stuff coming out of Chernobyl. They've experienced a lot of mutations. Anything from like pigments, skin color. I don't know. It's a lot, but their DNA has been manipulated like by the radiation, and you can actually buy these dogs, which is crazy.
Well, the craziest thing to me is there's actually people that still live there. Like they didn't leave. There's kind of like my dad when the gas well exploded across the road. He's like, I ain't going nowhere. This is my property. You know what I mean? Like, and they're fine. They're not like they've been there ever since, and they're okay. Like, I don't know.
Well, the people in Chernobyl were not okay, but
Right.
yeah, that there
Because
are.
They said, what was it, like 1,000-mile radius wouldn't be habitable for so many decades, and there were people within 50 miles that never left.
Yeah.
Well, we all know somebody that's been there. Rich has been there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go on a tourist walk, but they just walk around with that thing that goes.
Yeah, the Geiger counter.
Right. Well,
Um,
see, and one thing that I read when I was reading over that particular article was the fact that they were talking about animals of all kind have thrived in humanity's absence.
I'm sure.
And there was a show on the Science Channel a few years back called what was it? Life After People.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it told you up front, this is not about what happened to people. This is about what would happen if people just ceased to exist. And it would show you how quickly, we've got a nuclear power plant in the central part of our state. Yes, after 2 weeks with the power off, it's going to explode because the coolers are going to go out. And this area will be affected. But within this many years, the grass has started growing. Within this many years, and things like that. And it was very interesting how much better off the world would be without all of us.
Well, yeah. I mean, that can be argued, but
yes. And I do know that, the earth, okay, one, I firmly believe in climate change, but I also do know that the earth goes through cycles of heating up and cooling down. But I do still think man has contributed to that speeding up. But I do think that in some cases that, the world would probably progress better in some ways without us interfering. Not us, but, the higher ups that have all the answers.
Yep. We need to ask the aliens in the ocean.
Yes. Do something about these jackasses and let us live in peace. That's all we need.
And this actually leads into one of the stories that there's a Saudi Arabian desert that saw snowfall for the first time in known history.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It was a groundbreaking weather event in Saudi Arabia. And there's pictures and stuff. I don't know if Cecil. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So this is in a desert that had never received snowfall in known history. And the Saudi Arabian Weather Department issued severe weather warnings, cautioning residents to prepare for prolonged adverse conditions. They're also predicting thunderstorms and heavy rainfall, and it's impacted people's daily lives because they just, I bet
have a clue what to do.
Yeah, I bet that did cause a lot of praying. Landa, she makes a good point because I think that's biblical, if I'm not mistaken. Stephen would know. I'm pretty positive that snowing in the desert, or this particular desert,
we're calling that hell freezing over, Tully.
I mean, but like,
click on it. Just click on the picture.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that this has anything to do with the cloud seeding in Dubai, right? Like,
no,
never.
Nothing to do with all the silver iodide that they've sprayed for the last 100 years. Nothing to do with all the chemicals they put in the sky or the Orbeez and everything else.
This is
chemtrails are not a thing, Tully.
Right. Look up.
This is because
or like that Netflix movie, Don't Look Up.
Everybody watching it should feel horrible because there's snow in the desert because we drive to work every day.
Yes, this is because of your plastic straws. Not the millions of gallons of stuff that they're spraying in the skies.
That's
I
right.
Promise.
That is exactly right. I have not used a plastic straw in days, damn it.
Right. You're doing your part.
That's right.
Lord.
I know you're not a Starbucks person, but the straws that they use now are so flippin' weird because they don't feel plastic. And they're not plastic. They're supposed to be some like biodegradable material. They're really weird. So I have several metal straws at work that I just take my top off my coffee, stir it up, put it back on, and go rinse out my metal straw.
That is
because
weird.
I've actually turned into a Starbucks person solely for the reason that we have a Dunkin' Donuts in our town. About this time last year, there was a video that emerged that showed the filthiest the filthiest thing you have, like work area you've ever seen in your life at this Dunkin' Donuts. So I quit going for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody's like, oh, it's clean now. It's clean now. A bunch of teenagers work there. The manager's a teenager. Now, when I was a manager and a teenager, my store was spotless, son. And if it wasn't, I was yelling at you. but so I went back and the coffee started tasting bad. I was like, what the hell's wrong with this coffee? It tastes burnt. And that's when I started having all those kidney problems and prostatitis and things like that. So I quit drinking it, and now I can't really drink caffeine too much. That's the reason I have to drink Sprite and all this crap, but coffee every once in a while. But I firmly believe that they're not cleaning the stuff, because now I'm looking back and it's probably mold. So I started with bugs.
Oh, look, my in-laws back 40 years ago, well, about 30 years ago, bought a restaurant in our local hometown. So, of course, we're getting ready to do the big grand opening and everything. And I went, because we had, the tea makers, you actually put the big thing under it, you put a bag in, turn it on, mix your sugar and all that. And the first thing I made, I turn it on to get tea and stuff starts coming out of it. And I'm like, okay, the hell no.
Sorry.
So I dump it and I take the machine apart, and there is so much mold inside this tea machine. So I mean, when I got done, it was spotless.
They say that sorry.
No, that's fine.
I was just going to make a quick comment. They say that more times than not, when people get food poison, it comes from the drinks and not the food itself.
Yeah.
I could see that, because like I said, when I got done, because I mean, I bleached them, and I made sure that, that all that was out and everything. And people bitched more because, well, the tea doesn't taste the same. Well, that's because you were drinking flipping mold for the last 6 months. This is what tea should taste like. And it was terrible.
When we have Dipsmiths, I'm going to bring you a coffee from Dunkin's down here, Tully, and let you just taste it. It's disgusting.
Well, Rachel would be the
horrible.
She would be the control, because she drinks it regularly.
Well, I thought that maybe they had changed the coffee. I was like, did they change the coffee? This is disgusting. And then I went back 7 more times hoping it'd be different, and it never was. And me, if I spend money on something, I'm going to use it. So I drink it. I drink through it. Just. But
now that you mentioned that, the Hour Dunkin', because I don't go often, but once in a while I will, because they have like breakfast wraps.
Yeah.
It's just a tortilla with an egg and a piece of cheese, and you can get it with bacon or sausage.
Yeah.
But their coffee does always have an almost burnt taste to it.
Well, I went to the town over. It was delicious. It was perfect.
So you're saying mine sucks as bad as yours does?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because it ain't all of them. It's just that one, and it was horrible. Like I literally had to fight to drink through it. And I love coffee more than anything, and now I'm restricted. Like I drank a cup before this because I had to. I've got to. I slept 3 hours. My kidney is screaming at me right now because of it. But I mean, I don't know, man. Respect your job. That's all I'm saying. Like you got a job to do it right, no matter what it is.
I agree.
That's Cecil's PSA for the week.
My PSA. And these kids, they just don't give a shit. They don't care. It makes me mad.
Well, some of us were taught work ethics.
Yeah, it's been a common theme throughout history, though. Like I've got a compilation, and I don't have it ready to show because we're just talking about it on a whim. But I've got news articles from like the 1910s to current, talking about how the younger generations don't want to work. Like every single generation.
First person who said we don't know what the younger generation is coming to, Aristotle.
Really?
My father told me that when I was a teenager, and I went and looked it up, and I'm like, well, damn, he's right.
I mean, it's true. I don't want to work, but if I have to work, I'm going to do the best I can.
Now, I will say, like, the slippery slope into chemicals and everything, all of your food and clothes and everything else. I'm sure that's had an impact over the last 50 years for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, they've already said all of the hormones and stuff that they're giving animals to make them bigger and meatier and stuff are causing boys and girls to mature faster than they did 30, 40 years
Yeah.
ago.
Well, I can't
You know.
really say that. My nephew just turned 11 and he's got a mustache.
What?
Yeah, I seen it today. I was like, what the hell, man? But then I thought about, I grew a pretty solid mustache at about 11 or 12 too, actually. So it kind
Well,
of
see, there are exceptions, but I mean, I remember when my daughter was in high school, we were sitting in the parking lot of Walmart waiting on Mo and Steven to come back out. And I glanced up and there's this guy walking across the parking lot. And I went, son of a bitch. I was impressed. And my daughter goes, Mom, I go to school with him. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I'm like, they didn't build him that way when I was your age.
But the thing about it is he's not like 11 going on 12. He turned 11 the 19th of this month.
And has a mustache. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
But when I was 11, I was 5'11", probably.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're an exceptional specimen.
Yeah, I quit growing when I was in 7th grade. So
what do we got going on? We got tomorrow. We're gonna do a cryptid episode.
Quickie Crypties.
Okay, I'm not gonna make it, guys.
I'm calling it Volume 1.
Morgana's not gonna make it. We can call it Volume 1.
Yeah. Even though we've got like 13 of them.
I think. Do you want to do 8?
Yeah, so I was actually going to say that. It's pushing an hour.
So we'll do 8 Eastern tomorrow. We're going to be talking about cryptids across the United States. Stephen, if you're still here, you're more than welcome to join us. I'll send you some notes.
Right now, I've only got 5, but I'm going to look for some more. But the reason I only got 5 so far is because I'm trying to find the list known.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not talked about. So we're going to be talking about some that you may have never even heard about.
There's a lot of regional niche cryptids that people see. Cecil's already started a really good list. I think it'll be a good show. Like we'll have a lot of pictures and we'll have some sidebar conversations.
What sucks though is a lot of the ones I'm finding, because I'm doing all my research in books. I've got 30 cryptid books in there.
Yeah.
So there's not really a lot of pictures that represent what's in those books.
Well, we'll at least describe it.
Yeah.
Hey, get on Midjourney and throw those descriptions.
We'll prompt them. I'll prompt them while you describe them.
All right.
There you go.
But yeah, and if you have any and you're listening that you want to send us an article about, go ahead and send it to WITF@gmx.com. And we'll go ahead and pull them up. If you want to come on and talk about some things, let us know. We'll go ahead and pull you on. You can talk. If you got any personal cryptid experiences, we'll pull you up and let you discuss them.
Yep. Stephen, I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very upset because Landa went on watching Weird and she has not been on with us.
What?
Oh.
Landa.
How do you block somebody?
Landa, we can bring you on and let you tell your story about the cryptid if you want to jump on with us tomorrow for a few minutes.
Yeah.
It don't got to be long. Just jump on for like 10 minutes.
You don't have to stay the whole time.
Unless you want to. If you want to, by all means.
Yeah.
I had to go there. I'm sorry for calling you out, but I'm so jealous.
She said she thought she was tricked. But yeah, we'll be here tomorrow. It's a good weekend for it. So we got some free time and we're gonna give an extra show this month.
When I think about cryptids, I think about the holidays.
Yeah.
Every time.
Hey, Mo always says Merry Christmas, so that's almost cryptid. So
I don't
Yeah,
know. I've got another plug to give out too. I don't know if he's posted it yet, but I recorded with Out of the Blank. That should be coming out pretty soon, so go check that out. And not only did I record with him solo, but me and Steven also recorded with him. So that episode will be coming out
Awesome.
directly after mine. So go check that out.
Send. Well, I already have your email. Never mind. I'll send you a link to the show tomorrow, and you can jump on at the beginning, in the middle, at the end, whenever you feel comfortable. We can go through a couple and then call you out in the chat, and you can jump on. It's whatever you want to do.
Yep. Bring a friend. Say, hey, what are you doing this weekend? If you're listening right now, say, what are you doing tomorrow night at 8 o'clock? And if they say not shit, you go, hey, you should tune into this episode and hit subscribe.
Yeah. If you don't already follow us, hit the follow button. It's just so you know when we're coming on. We come on every Friday though. You don't have to follow us. It's just it's a nicety. We've been at it for years, and we have tens of viewers. You know,
that's right. But we have the best viewers.
Tens of 20.
We do have the best crowd.
Yeah.
We appreciate everybody watching.
I actually had someone today ask me about my hometown witch. And she goes, I want to make sure I've got it right. And she's, telling me and everything. And I'm like, I'm like, but do you know, if you followed us on our podcasts, you would know this.
Yeah.
She's like, she's like, what podcast? I'm like, Casey, we've been podcasting for like 3 or 4 years together.
Yeah.
And you didn't know? What's the address?
My favorite thing, though, going back to Rob from Out of the Blank, I love his evolution. When I first talked to Rob, he was a guy, he's real fun to talk to. He's real into certain things. At some point, he got latched onto JFK.
What?
This guy has
random, dude.
This guy has turned into a professional when it comes to the JFK assassinations. He has hours of material with interviews with people that were closely tied into it. If you're interested in that, I suggest going and checking out of the Blank podcast for all your JFK needs at this moment, because it's crazy who he's interviewed and all kinds of. It's wild.
I'll let Steven talk about this tomorrow, but it looks like we're going to have a pretty big cryptid guest in December or January.
Ooh.
So we'll.
Is it Bigfoot?
It is.
Ooh.
It is. So
we finally talked them into coming.
Yeah. So stay tuned. For that, guests are going to be firing back up either in December into January. But I think this is the first year we haven't went on hiatus. So we're staying strong because you guys keep turning up. So
that's right.
Yep. So thank you all for watching us, because we are watching you.
Peace.
Bye.